Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Haley and you're watching Between the Pages. I have another disappointing book review for you today, and that is Frozen by Stardust by Elizabeth Helen. This is book 5 in the Beast of the Briar series, and it is my least favorite book of this entire series, and now we're going to discuss why. So I was so hyped going into this, especially off the back of Broken by Daylight and that ending. I didn't really like this one. I am still holding out for, I think it is Stolen by Shadows. I am hyped for that one. I hope it doesn't disappoint me like this one did. So yeah, now we're just going to talk about it. So at the beginning, I was like, we still haven't dealt with the whole, Dayton died thing. But I still loved seeing Farron and Dayton interact. They are my two favorite characters. I do like Ezrin, but I really like my Summer Prince and my Autumn Prince the most. So I always love when they're on page together and just interacting. I love them so much. And then at one point, we had all the divine weapons except Rosie's bow. And I was like, okay, where are we going with this? By the end, they don't even have Rosie's bow. Like, they end up breaking it. So now they have all four. Yes, they have 4 divine weapons. One for each prince. No, 3. They have 3. Because Keldarian's sword gets damaged, like halfway through the book. But, at the end, they do find some, I think it's called mythcorite, which is what they made the divine weapons out of. And Chiron, he's back. Not as insufferable as he is in Forged by Malice. I am starting to warm to Chiron a bit, which kind of makes me mad because I don't like it when authors introduce a character that is clearly supposed to be an antagonist and then makes you like them. Because I'm like, no, I want to hate this character, but like I can't. So they turn to Chiron and they're like, hey, you've done smithing work. Could you make a new sword for the realm? Sword of the Protector? Yeah, for Keldarian. So I guess that's what we're going to do in Stolen by Shadows. We'll just see. But at one point, they did have all 4 divine weapons besides Rosie's bow. And then at one point, Keldarian, I was like, God damn it. I was actually starting to like you, and you're still being a stubborn, icy bastard. So he warms up towards the end for obvious reasons, and they break his curse for obvious reasons, and things like that. But yeah, I was frustrated with him for a lot of this book, until we got to like the very end. And then Farron and Caspian, I low-key ship it. Because at one point, Farron walks into the library and Caspian is just like hanging out on a table, like staring at the ceiling. And Farron goes over and basically like makes out with Caspian. And I was like, I ship this so hard. I really, really love Farron and Caspian. And then also, I have a question. We still need to deal with the fact that Caspian is mates with his adopted sister's sister. So Renly and Rosalina are sisters. We've covered this in previous reviews. But Renly is also Caspian's adopted sister. So I'm like, okay, so you're in love with your sister's sister. Okay, it's complicated. This whole series, I feel like you kind of have to like have a suspension of disbelief, because I'm just like, that's a little complicated, and you're basically only 1 degree of separation from your adopted sister, and it's complicated. It's not that it weirds me out, it is a little weird, even for me, that I'm like, okay, we've not even dealt with this or had a conversation about this. So maybe that'll happen later. And then at one point, Ezrin goes down into the below to save Caspian, and I was like, because like he shows up in the below and they kind of like back up and be like, this is how he got into the below. And I was like, what the fuck is Ezran doing here? How did he get here? And then don't think I didn't catch that Mandalorian reference, because he's got like 6 guards or something around him, and he says like, I like those chances. And it reminds me of, there's like Din Djarin from The Mandalorian says a lot of times, I like those odds. And I was like, I see you, Elizabeth Helen. They've also been posting a lot of stuff with The Mandalorian and Grogu, because Ezran was inspired by The Mandalorian. It's very obvious when you read these books. But yeah, so I've been enjoying watching that on their social media. And then finally, we tell Dayton that he actually died. He was dead, like dead, not coming back, dead. And he was brought back by the green flame. But there was a twist. Caspian lies for Farron, because Farron is the one who brought Dayton back. And Farron didn't want to tell Dayton because he knew Dayton was going to be pissed at him. So Caspian went and lied and said, oh, it was me, I brought you back. Because he's used to being the villain in everyone's narrative. So he's like, well, it's easy because they already kind of hate me. And I don't want them to hate you, Farron. And so, yeah, Caspian lies for Farron. And then also, when they're trying to find a way, like, into the mountain or whatever, like, Farron and Dayton almost have sex. Like, he has Farron up against the wall, and then the wall starts, like, moving and opens, and Dayton is like, okay, let's go back to, you know, banging. And Farron's like, no, put me down. This is so cool. Like, something cool just happened. And I was like, y'all just choose to have sex at the most inopportune moments. But I did like it, how Farron was like, oh, something cool happened, put me down. Like, forget it. Forget about that. We'll do that later. I just thought that was very on brand very on brand for Farron. And then also, so at one point, Caspian and Ezran have Rosalina, and Rosalina's like, oh, well, I was supposed to be with Kel tonight. Like, he said he was going to show me something and we were going to spend time together. And so they use Keldarian and Caspian's bargain to get her across winter to be with Kel. Because if Caspian finds his pleasure with someone else, it transports them to Keldarian. And I was like, this is an interesting way to use the bargain. And they use that bargain a lot in, like, this instance. And I was like, okay, I kind of like this. I kind of like it a lot. I was like, this is an interesting way. And then Keldarian goes and shows Rosalina, basically, it's either the Aurora Borealis or, like, this book's version of Starfall from ACOTAR. I can't remember. But, like, in my mind, it's the Aurora Borealis because they're in winter. So, obviously, it's inspired by, like, Nordic culture, at least in my mind. And so, but then it also mentions, like, streaking stars. So, it's kind of like Starfall also. So, I don't know. But he was all sweet and was like, you thought I hated you, like, I don't hate you. And it was the whole, like, I'm actually madly in love with you. And it's just been, I'm sorry that you thought I hated you, but I don't. And it was like that whole confession that you usually get with, like, enemies to lovers trope. But I was like, God damn it. I was like, I was mad at you. And now I'm not mad at you, and I don't know how to feel about this, because I really do not like Keldarian. He's still my least favorite prince. And then at some point, Perth Quellos pops up again, and I was like, can we just kill him already? Like, I'm so fucking done with seeing his face and hearing his voice. Like, I don't like this character, and, like, you're not supposed to like this character. But I'm like, can we kill him already? Can we? I mean, Farron ends up killing him later with the green flame, so guess I got my wish. And then Iron, I think is how you pronounce it, is Keldarian's uncle, who has been, like, basically guarding the chasm and everything, and, like, is the leader of the Deep Guard. He ends up getting killed by Syrah, and I was like, I know I'm supposed to care, but I don't. It was the same thing that happened with Queen Neve in Woven by Gold. I was like, I know I'm supposed to care about the fact that this character has just died, but I don't. Like, I legit only care about Rosalina and the princes, and like maybe Chiron. Still don't give a shit about Renly. Still don't like her. So, we'll see. And then, of course, Kel goes and puts his foot in it, and we're back to being mad at Kildarian. Because cannot get a break. I really don't like him. And then at one point they were talking about something and I don't remember what it was, but like Dayton mentions that he has no idea what a TV is and it doesn't know what TV show Rosalina's talking about. And I was like, I just thought it was funny because it kind of reminds us that Rosalina is from our world and she's in a Fae world now. And so she still kind of holds on to her human side and things like that. So she mentions things that the princes have no idea what she's talking about. And it just makes me giggle every time because I was like, oh yeah, she's from our world, not from the Fae world. And then there is the infamous scene in the sauna where basically Dayton, I think it's Dayton and Caspian, or Dayton and Ezran make a bet that they can't kiss everybody in the room. And like, I guess Ezran has pretty much kissed everyone and Caspian has kissed everyone. Except Caspian has not kissed Ezran and Ezran has not kissed Dayton. So that's where we're at the beginning of that scene. And then Dayton is, I think he's having sex with Farron, maybe, or maybe he's having sex with Rosalina, and Dayton and Ezran leans over and like grabs him and like lays one on him. And let's just say that Dayton arrives, completes his pleasure, we'll just put it that way. And I was like, oh, Dayton liked it. It was hilarious because like it happens and then Ezran's like, oh my god, tell me you didn't. And he's like, I'm sorry. He's like, dude, tell me you didn't. And Ezran's like, and Dayton's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. It was really funny. I did like that scene, and I was even better hearing it in a duet form of the audiobook. I'm holding out for Forged by Malice duet, because there's a scene I want to go back and listen to. If you know, you know. The flowers in the spring realm. Like I said, if you know, you know. I really want to listen to that in duet style. And then at one point, Ezran tells Sierra to shut up. And I was like, thank you for saying what we're all thinking, Ezran, because I don't like Sierra. And I know we're not supposed to like Sierra, but I was like, thank you for saying what everybody's thinking. And then Farron kind of gets corrupted by like the power of the green flame and goes dark for a little bit, and I was living for it because I know that it was marketed as like cinnamon roll character goes dark or goes dark side. I really like it. It doesn't last though. That's the only thing I have an issue with, is that it didn't last. Because like in the end, like Ezran basically teaches Farron and Dayton like how to come back from being like overtaken by the green flame. And so he's kind of not dark anymore, but like he still has the voice of the Baron in his head. But I think he has like better control over it now. And I wanted Farron to stay dark, honestly. But in the next book, we're getting evil and unhinged Caspian, and I am here for it. I'm ready. My body is ready. And then at one point, they keep losing to Sierra. And I was like, okay, this is starting to piss me off. I realized, like, there is that phrase, you know, we lost the battle but won the war. And I was like, I don't see how they're going to win this war against Sierra and the Below. I really don't. I still don't see how this is even going to happen. Because they kept losing and kept losing and kept losing. And I was like, Jesus Christ, can they get a break? And then you find out that Renly and Chiron are mates. Isn't that ironic? That Chiron fell in love with Rosalina's sister, and his brother fell in love with Rosalina. So, it is an interesting dynamic. I still don't like Renly. I guess we'll see what happens in the last 2 books. Stolen by Shadows comes out in July, and then Crowned by Roses, I think, is the title of the last one. Comes out in like October, I think, or November, December. It's like the later part of the year. So, yeah, I am excited to see where those 2 books go. And then also, I got 100 pages from the end, and there was still no wedding. Because on their social media, they marketed it as like a fated mate's wedding. And like literally, the wedding didn't even happen until like the last 40 pages. I was so pissed. I was like, what do you mean? Like, it's gonna, like, that's basically how the book ends. It ends with the fucking wedding. And him breaking his curse and then stopping the volcano that's gonna like kill all of winter. And I was like, I was just mad. There's a lot of things that made me mad. And then at one point, Astrid can't turn back into a human. She can't speak. She's literally just a rabbit because that's her animal form because of the curse. And I was like, I know this is supposed to be emotional, but like, this is Keldarian's fault because he refused to break his curse. So everyone in winter is still cursed to turn into animals after dark. Except on the full moon. I know. Weird lore. But yeah, I was like, I understand this is supposed to be emotional, but like, this is Keldarian's fault. Like, why are we not mad at Keldarian? Like, I don't understand. And then I wrote Keldarian pulled up. Oh, this is why I wrote that. So Keldarian basically tells Rosalina that he's not going to break his curse until they get married. And I was like, so he pulled an Edward. He said that he wasn't going to basically have sex with her until they got married, which is what Edward did with Bella. And I was like, really? Really? I mean, I understand that these books, they do take a lot of inspiration from other IPs. Like, it's very obvious. And, like, I feel that as, you know, a fan fiction writer. But I just, I don't know. A lot of this book annoyed me. And then I loved seeing Dayton freak out over what to wear to the wedding. Because at one point he's got like 2 vests in his hand. And one is like a teal blue and one's like a turquoise. And he's like, I don't know which one to wear. And so someone tells him, oh, we'll go wear that. Go change into that. And then he comes out wearing the total opposite thing of what they picked. And then Farron was like primping in the mirror, like checking his hair, making sure his cuff looks good and his earrings. And I was just like, this is so cute. I did enjoy that part, watching the princes get ready for Keldarian's wedding to Rosalina. I really liked that. And then personally, I think she should be marrying Farron, but I'm a Farron girly. I like my sweet autumn prince, my sweet bookish autumn prince. But yeah. And then another one of the tags that they put on their social media that had like the micro tropes was enemies to lovers to enemies, and it's with Caspian. And that kind of made me mad because I wanted the enemies to lovers to enemies to be with her and Farron, because that would be so much better. Like, imagine Farron like completely goes dark like Caspian does, and like he goes to the below with Caspian, and they have to like battle to get Farron back from get Farron back from the below, and like bring him back to being the sweet autumn prince that we all know and love. But no, it was with Caspian. As if nobody fucking saw that coming. Because, like, he ends up... So, Renly has this bargain that I believe we've talked about before, where if Rosalina's mom, Queen Aurelia, loved anything more than George, I believe, was part of the bargain. that she would own that person, body, mind, and soul. And so Caspian basically trades Renly's bargain for himself. So he's like, okay, let Renly go, because Renly doesn't want to be mind controlled by Sierra anymore. And so he's like, okay, well, take me instead. So she does, and he goes like full, and then she commands him to like basically accept the power of the green flame. And he goes full on like dark side, full on Anakin Skywalker dark side. And so it's not that I don't like that, but I would have rather seen Farron go full on dark side, just because I think it would be an interesting dynamic to see them have to like battle against Farron, like their friend, their brother, their lover. I just think that would be a better storyline in my opinion. But yeah, that was my incredibly rambly review of Frozen by Stardust. Hopefully Stolen by Shadows goes a lot better. And I guess I will just see you guys later. Bye!